we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And normally, I'd welcome my buddy Rich, but unfortunately, fortunately, he is with his lovely wife. They are celebrating their anniversary and taking a well-deserved vacation. Rich, Amy, if you guys do listen to this together, happy anniversary. Great job. Yeah, let's celebrate. If you're not, Rich, I know you'll listen at some point. Hi. Because Rich isn't here to do it, welcome to all our YouTube fans out there. Great to have you here. So, you know what? We're 1 week closer to Christmas. It's been a great week. The school has had fun dress-up days, so I've gotten to have fun and do some fun dress-up things this week. And, I've gotten to relax a little bit. We're getting caught up. We got a busy couple of weeks with Christmas break. We get some time with that. And then after that, back to the new year. So we got a show for you. It might be a little short today. I'm going to try to... Normally I can pontificate on things long enough and draw things out long enough to actually get a full, hopefully an hour or close, but we'll see. First and foremost, what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about the NFL is huge this week. Lots of things to talk about. Man, is it going to be... Man, it's going to be a rough week. It's a lot to talk about. There's some things I'm going to talk about that Rich doesn't have on the outline. We also have baseball to talk about. Huge baseball things to talk about. And, Rich's topics would have probably been the Chicago Bulls. And we'll always give you that spoiler alert at the end of the show. But with that, let's roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. Okay, before we get started, as we do every week, we have to talk our poll question. This week's poll question: Apple Jacks or cinnamon or Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries? Folks, there were 13 of you that decided to vote on this one. We appreciate each and every one of you, and man, was this another overwhelming victory. Let me give you the votes for Apple Jacks. There were 4 of you: Debbie Washburn, Sue Hart, Matt Johnson, and Tamika May. There were 9 of you, that's double and one, plus 1, that voted for Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries. Me, Ashley Shriepeck, Josh Hendricks, Gail Welchman, Austin Shriepeck, Pete Kincaid, Rich, Josh Couture, and Jason Farrell. Thank you, everyone that voted on that poll question. You voted for the right thing if you voted for Crunch Berries, in my opinion. Each person has their own. This next week's poll question, wow. It's been live for 4 hours and we already have 20 votes. Because I'm starting later than Rich was planning on. He put up bacon versus avocado toast. Man, this is going to be a highly voted on one at least. And, lots of shout-outs. next time we meet. Yeah. So, with that, if you are interested in voting in the poll question, check us out on facebook.com/ballsandsticks or fans of Balls and Sticks, where we post it or share it. Plus, I regularly share the poll question, and Rich tries to as well. So it gets out to our friends and family, which is why you hear some names that you don't that sometimes you don't see elsewhere. So yeah, that's already got 20 votes. Wow, I was not expecting that. And I won't even talk about where the votes are going because I am shocked at how many votes it has already. With that, let's go ahead and move into the NFL. We got to talk about Week 14 locks of the week. Rich picked the Packers over the Giants. The Giants pulled it off 24-22. Rich drops to 6-8. I picked the Texans over the Jets. The Jets destroyed the Texans 30-6, bringing me down to 8-6. In our upset alerts, Rich picked the Rams over the Ravens. In overtime, the Ravens pulled it off, dropping Rich to 8-6. I picked the Broncos over the Chargers. That brought me up with the Broncos winning 24-7 to 8-6. The Bears-Lions game, Rich and I both picked the Lions, and the Bears pulled it off 28-13, bringing the Bears up to a 5-8 record. Rich has a 7-6 record, and I have an 8-5 record on the year. Can the Bears make the playoffs? Well, yes. The answer is yes. They are likely going to get the number 1 overall pick because the Panthers are doing terribly. And if the Panthers continue to do terribly, that helps us keep the number 1 overall pick. But what do the Bears need to do to make the playoffs? Well, honestly, at this point, they need to win out. I mean, let's win out. That's the first thing that the Bears need to do. By the way, they only have a 1.4% chance at making the playoffs. And that's if they win out. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Needless to say, one of those wins has to be against the Packers in Lambeau. Yeah, I think we can take the Browns. Yes, I think we can take the Cardinals. Yes, I think we can take the Falcons. As a Bears fan, I think they can do it. But the Packers in Lambeau? Man, that would be ridiculous. That would be crazy. Now, that also requires that the Vikings lose 3 of the last 4 against the Seahawks and the Rams. And the Seahawks and the Rams both need to lose twice. And the NFC South couldn't have 2 teams in it that finish better than 9-8. There's a chance. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But if the Panthers finish with the worst overall record, yes, the Bears the Bears get the number 1 overall pick. If the Bears win out, yes, they would also need the Vikings to lose 3 of the final 4 games. The Seahawks and the Rams to each lose twice. And 2 of the Buccaneers, Saints, and Falcons to lose at least twice. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But would it be ridiculous? A little bit. But that's okay. What have I seen with the Bears? Man, since Justin Fields has been back, their play has been better. Spoiler alert, Justin Fields is a better quarterback. Why does that surprise anybody? He's a good quarterback. I would almost even say he's a great quarterback. Why are we surprised that when he comes back onto the field, the Bears improve? Do I think if he would have not gone away, they would have many more wins? Probably not. But here's the problem. The problem isn't with the quarterback. It's not with the quarterback play. It's with the play calling. Now, one thing that the quarterback is allowed to do when you have a quarterback like Justin Fields on the field, he's allowed to call audibles. He's allowed to change the call when he comes to the line of scrimmage and says, hey, they know that this is a wide receiver screen. I'm going to run away from this. We're going to do a sweep. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. He changes the call like he should. Doesn't do this wide receiver screen 4 times in a row. Hopefully he doesn't again. This is the problem that I'm seeing. Like, the problem with the Bears is not personnel, by the way. It's not. The problem with the Bears has everything to do with head coach and coordinators. By the way, if the Bears win out and they make the playoffs, do I think they should fire Matt Eberflus? 100,000% yes. There are coaches out there that I think the Bears could use. There's rumors, and there's pretty strong indications that there'll be 2 great coaches available in this offseason. Nothing's confirmed. Nothing's promised. But there are currently 2 coaches that are on that are not going to. There's at least one that won't be back in the college ranks, likely. And there'll be at least one who won't be with his NFL team, who is a great quarterback. And there's Eric Bieniemy. There's 3 options. Jim Harbaugh. I believe Bill Belichick. I understand right now that's a stretch, but there have been conversations had that, as far as we know, and as far as some of the ways that things are being put out there, legitimately seem like it should, like they should be getting rid of Bill Belichick in the next year. That's likely going to happen. Next year will be the first year we don't see Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots in 25 years, if I remember correctly. And that's where things change. So you have Jim Harbaugh and you have Bill Belichick likely at this point, from everything I've seen and everything I've read and everything I've heard, both of those guys are likely looking for a new place to coach next year. By the way, if this isn't the year Eric Bieniemy gets an opportunity to take on the head coaching job, then somebody has a stack of emails between him and John Gruden that make him look just as bad as John Gruden, because that's the only explanation I have right now, because it makes no sense why Eric Bieniemy has not been hired and is not a head coach in the NFL today. If he doesn't do, if the Bears don't fire Matt Eberflus and hire Eric Bieniemy, then something is wrong. By the way, if they hire Jim Harbaugh, I'd be okay with that. But again, I still think Eric Bieniemy is the answer in Chicago. Jim Harbaugh would be great. Bill Belichick would be great. But Eric Bieniemy, we need an offensive-minded man. Don't get me wrong. Jim Harbaugh is a great offensive mind. He is. And Bill Belichick has a proven track record of being able to draw stuff up and to get his team to play the right way. But Eric Bieniemy, we know his knowledge of the offensive side. We know how great he is in general. It's about time somebody gives him a chance. I think that should be in Chicago. If you don't like that, comment down below. Either if you're watching later on Facebook, comment in the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, love to hear from you. And if you're in podcast land, I think you can comment somewhere in a lot of those. But seriously, if you're not there, if you're in podcast land and you think I'm being an idiot right now, jump on your computer, get over on your phone, go over to Facebook, go over to YouTube, let us know what you think about what I'm saying right now. Because honestly, I think that's the best solution. Eric, I don't care if the Bears win out this year. That does not go to show that Eberflus is any good. It doesn't. Okay. Thursday Night Football. Chargers, Raiders. Rich picked the Raiders. I picked the Chargers. Rich picked the Raiders sounding like he was going just against me. I don't know. Maybe he did think that he 100% should have and would have loved it, but wanted to pick that way. Huge blowout. 63-21 Raiders. Wow. Rich is at 13-4. I am at 9-8. Oh, really would have loved to see them hit that 70 burger. Immediately afterwards, Brandon Staley gets fired, and so does Tom Telesco. Both getting fired hours. I don't even know if they made it hours, but the report came out hours after the game ended. Probably they landed and they were like, okay, let's go in. Let's have this meeting. Pack up your things, get out of here, go home. Brandon Staley has not done anything for that team. When Rich and I were talking about it, his immediate thoughts were about time. I couldn't agree more. The person I feel worst for, by the way, are the Chargers clearing out both their GM and their coach because they think they're going to be able to pick up Bill Belichick and he'll get both jobs. He'll come in, set up the Belichick way, and all of a sudden Justin Herbert's going to be the new Tom Brady and run it down and have years of success and blah, blah, blah. Maybe. I don't think that's their plan. I think they just needed to get rid of both of those guys because things are terrible. Could it happen? Yeah, I'd see it happen. Another story that came out this week, the Kansas City Chiefs in the last play of the game. Not quite the last play of the game, but one of the last plays of the game. Tony, I can't think of his first name, lines up offsides. Flag is thrown as the play starts. First and foremost, let's talk about that. Flag is thrown as the play starts. Only one person on that field knows how this is going. It's going back 5 yards unless something crazier happens. And what unfolds? Patrick Mahomes has a wide open Tony. Doesn't go there. The guy drops his head, looks away. Patrick Mahomes throws it to Travis Kelce, who then, rather than getting tackled, throws the ball backwards back to Tony Pollard, who then runs it in for a touchdown. Flag was thrown at the beginning of the play. Wasn't thrown midway through wasn't thrown anywhere else. Was thrown at the beginning of the play. Go back and watch it, folks. Now, afterwards, everybody starts screaming and yelling. It's offsides, 5-yard penalty, replay the down. The Chiefs go ballistic. Now, part of the reason, he's been lining up that way all year, all season. He lined up. There's like 4 or 5 plays that they had him lined up just like that. You can go find the tape for yourself. You can find it. He was lined up just like that, and never once in that game, in those 3, 4, 6 times, I think is what I saw on the replay that I had seen that somebody was proving a point. Never once in those other 5 times did it get called. And on the last drive of the game, you're going to call it? Now, Rich says he thinks he thought it was a legitimate call. However, the optics look bad to have a game-winning touchdown reversed on a call and called back. He believes, as I think, offsides, false starts on the offense should be a dead ball immediately upon the... Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Whistle the ball dead, put them back 5 yards, boom, done. Nobody would have cared. Mahomes. So, there's that. 2, the biggest problem with this whole thing is Patrick Mahomes' response and Andy Reid's response. These 2 grown men, now, right off the bat, they snap off, they shoot their mouths off, they talk about how the refs had no right doing that. That was terrible, blah, blah. Here's the problem. And this is my true thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. I think if they made those statements right away, they're getting interviewed on the field. They're in the heat of the moment. That's their thoughts. Now, Monday comes, they watch the tape, they say, yep, bad play, we need to fix it. Okay, put them out, each of them release a statement saying, hey, after looking at it, I see what they're talking about. I think, even if they say, I think this should have been a blown call or a blown whistle right away, I think that's how it should be handled. Even if you're saying you disagree with how it was handled, you say they were right, but I disagree with how it was handled, I think blows right over. The problem is they haven't done that. Patrick Mahomes has rolled it back a little bit, but not fully. And I haven't seen it, but I'm sure that the NFL is going to find these guys. Let me look. I haven't looked at that report in a couple days. NFL finds Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Okay. Apparently, between the both of them, it's $150,000. Guess what? They both make 10 times more than that. It's not a big deal for either of them. But I truly believe that if you say, hey, I saw the replay, I disagree with how it was handled because I think it should be handled. Call the play dead immediately. Give us our penalty. We'll work from there. But other than that, they made the right call. I apologize. I think if they do that, they get off without the fine. But NFL's fined them both. And neither one of them backed down. So that's a problem that I have. the question, and this is a huge problem. People are starting to think, truly believing, that the NFL is rigged. Flat out rigged. They think that gambling debts and money, like not just gambling debts, but the NFL is in bed with the bookmakers, and they know what the outcome needs to be for the bookmakers to make. And the reason why they think this isn't because of anything anybody has said. What it is inconsistency in calls. If the refs are not professionals, if they're not getting paid enough to make gambling decisions, there's no way that anybody's going to say this is not that you can stand up and say it for sure. So, I mean, that's the problem. Until we can say, until there's consistency, until these guys are making enough money that it's not, that the gambling debts, the gambling blah, 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 isn't going to be a suspicion even, you're going to have the thought that Tim Donahue, that the NFL has their own Tim Donahues. Guys, the Tim Donahue is the guy who, in the NFL or in the NBA, worked with a buddy of his, apparently never placed bets, but fixed bets and earned money that way. Until we can prove that that's not happening in the NFL, until we could say, until there's their consistency and their ability to make calls is beyond question, the question on whether or not the NFL is rigged will always come up. Do I think the NFL has storylines they want to see? 100% yes. By the way, if you don't think that the NFL if you think that the NFL was rigged, why do you think they'd let the Chiefs lose a game like that? I think if the NFL was rigged, they would have picked that flag up quietly. Nobody would have ever known, and it would have been washed away. Why? Because the NFL, the world loves Patrick Mahomes. This year's biggest storyline in not in sports, the biggest storyline of the year is Taylor Swift dating Travis Kelce. So you're telling me that the biggest team, the biggest storylines, the biggest all of it, the thing that's bringing women's eyeballs to the NFL, and they want to hurt that storyline? You're off your rocker. They would have done everything they can to make sure that the Chiefs win that game if they could, but they don't. The NFL wants the Chiefs in every game possible. Why? Because then Taylor Swift's at the game, and if Taylor Swift is at the game, then women want to watch the game. Swifties want to watch the game. And if Swifties are watching the game, that's more eyeballs on. That means your ad revenue's way up. By the way, you want to talk about being way up? How about sales of Travis Kelce jerseys 400% in 1 week? Yeah, the story's gone a little stale because it seems to be so steady. But the fact that you can't, like, the fact that this is what NFL, what Swifties want, there's no way the NFL would hurt the Chiefs intentionally. They can't do it. These guys are calling the game as they see it. Do they get things wrong? Yes. To err is human. But forgiveness is divine. You know what? We got to brush it off. Patrick Mahomes needs to brush it off. By the way, him making those statements, if I call you out on something, if I call your best friend out on something, if I say these refs and just blanket statement, these refs are terrible, guess what? Refs are going to remember. You can't sit there and tell me that this isn't how it's going to work. So when the refs come in and do that, man, Patrick, you're digging yourself a hole. You're now 3 steps back because now they're going to be critical on everything you do. Now you've brought the attention. You've said, oh, they do it 5 other times in that game. He was lined up the exact same. Guess what? Now you're going to get it called 5 times in a game. Mark my words. When the Chiefs play tomorrow, or whenever they play this week, I'm sorry, I don't remember. When the Chiefs play this week, there will likely be more offside penalties because they've called attention to it. This man doesn't know how to line up on sides. Hey, guess what? We just let the whole world know it. And not just the whole world. Not only that, we then called out the refs for calling a penalty that should have been a penalty. You want to talk about painting a target on your own back? Come on now. All that to say, was it a penalty? Yes. Did Rich think it was a penalty? Yes. Do we both think that it should have been that the ball should be whistled dead as soon as the snap happens on a play like that? Yes. That should be how it goes. Okay. And then other NFL news that came out in Week 14, or since last week, since we talked about it, the NFL has approved and will be putting a game in Brazil for 2024. The NFL's goal is to get more fans, more people into the NFL. The more they get it. So we had NFL Europe. And the problem is that was about as good a football as going down, and it was similar skill level to going to watching your Arena League team. But here's the problem. It wasn't crammed into as small of a venue. It wasn't brought to that level of excitement that Arena League is. So it wasn't as exciting. And don't get me wrong, I go to games in Okoboji multiple times a year. That doesn't change that I enjoy it and that the game's still enjoyable. The difference is, here's where the problem is that I am born, bred, and built to enjoy football here in America. I got the Europeans, they're not, it's not a game that's as intense to them, so they need the top level stuff to bring them over. That's what the rest of the world needs. That's why we're putting games in London, why we're putting games in Mexico City, in apparently Brazil now. I think it's good for the NFL. Getting eyeballs on the NFL helps as much as possible. So, let's get into the power rankings post week 14. So I'll give you both mine and Rich's and then the power rankings themselves. Let's get into it. So we are going to put it, we'll put it in that order. Okay, at number 1, everybody agrees, ELO, Rich, me, and the power rankings, the San Francisco 49ers. And number 2, I have the Dallas Cowboys The ELO agrees, and so does the Power Rankings. Well, kind of. The Power Rankings has a tie for number 2. Rich has the Cowboys at number 4. And number 2, Rich, however, has the Baltimore Ravens, which I have at number 3, and so does the ELO. The Power Rankings, however, ties the Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens at number 2. Number 3, Rich has the Philadelphia Eagles, which, I already said that I have the Ravens, and so does ELO, and 3 is tied. They're twos, so there's no 3. And number 4, the Power Rankings, me and the ELO all agree that's where the Eagles belong. And number 5, the Detroit Lions. Yeah, I said it. They're going to make the playoffs. They should make the playoffs. They should be the team that comes out of the NFC North, I think, which is kind of why I put them there. They also have a 9-4 record. The ELO, however, disagrees as they have them at 11, but the Power Rankings puts them at 7. And Rich and I both agree that with the Detroit Lions. And number 6, Rich has the Miami Dolphins. This is where I put the Kansas City Chiefs, and the ELO has the Kansas City Chiefs at 5, and the Power Rankings also have them at 5. At 6, the Power Rankings have the Dolphins, and the ELO actually has the Buffalo Bills still. That past performance is helping them a ton. At number 7, I have the Miami Dolphins. Rich has the Kansas City Chiefs. Somehow the Cincinnati Bengals still are at number 7 for the ELO, and the Power Rankings has the Detroit Lions, as I said earlier. Number 8, Rich has the Cleveland Browns. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The ELO has the Dolphins, and the Power Rankings has the Buffalo Bills. At number 9, I have the Cleveland Browns. Rich has the Jacksonville Jaguars. The ELO has the Minnesota Vikings, and the Power Rankings has the Jacksonville Jaguars. At number 10, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The ELO has the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Cleveland Browns round up the top 10 for the Power Rankings, and Rich has the Buffalo Bills. Now our bottom 5. At 28, I have the Tennessee Titans. Rich disagrees and puts the Los Angeles Chargers down here. I think after Sunday, I would disagree. After Thursday, I 100% agree with that. At 29, the Redskins for both of. I'm sorry, the Washington Commanders. Yeah. At 30, the Patriots. 31, the Cardinals. And at 32, the Carolina Panthers. Okay, let's head back to predictions. Let's go for locks of the week. This week's locks of the week. Rich has the Rams over the Commanders. He says this season can't get over soon enough for the Commanders. My question to him, and Rich, when you listen to this, please go ahead and you can put it in the comments, and we'll bring it back up next week. Do you think that Ron Rivera is out for the Commanders at the end of the season? Just a question. I'm going to pick Kansas City over New England. New England also wants to get the season done with, and Kansas City just needs to get back winning and get last week past them. Upset alert, Rich is picking the Giants over the Saints. I kind of like that one myself. He's saying that Tommy DeVito and the G-Men keep their winning streak alive. It's only an upset. It's the only upset that he's comfortable with. See, I disagree. I think the Tennessee Titans or the Houston Texans are going to beat the Tennessee Titans, as I don't think the Titans are that good of a team. I just don't, and I think the Houston is going to come out of this better, and we'll see Houston win tomorrow. Also, we have the Bears versus the Browns in Cleveland. I'm picking the Bears because I am angry at Cleveland, and I won't let it go. Rich is picking the Bears because it could go either way, and he's going to go with his gut. And talking the Bears after not listening to it and taking the Bears. Yeah, okay, so he's following his gut, which is last week he said he felt like the Bears could win that game, but logic won out over his gut, and now he's going to listen to his gut. I think that's a good thing to do. Personally, I actually think that I think the Bears here's the problem. The Bears win this week. Spoiler alert for next week's show if we have one. I don't remember. We had talked about not doing one. If we want to do it, we might do one because we have an extra day. I don't know. We'll let you know. You'll either see us go live or you won't. That's kind of how it is at this point. Maybe we'll do a Friday midday show or something. I think we both have it off. But the biggest thing is that the Bears need to lose the Christmas Eve, or need to win the Christmas or need to lose the Christmas weekend game. They have to lose that game because they need to make sure that the Cardinals don't have a better shot at getting to the Panthers. Thursday Night Football this week is going to be the Saints versus the Rams. Rich is picking the Rams. The Rams are keep rolling, and the Saints see their playoff hopes disappear. I disagree. I think the Saints win, and I think that's. I actually don't think that I don't mind his upset, but I don't know that it happens. We'll see. The Saints are up so hot and cold this year. Who knows what's going to happen? Nobody. So I'm going to take the Saints. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Let's leave the gridiron and make some left turns, not in the NASCAR corner, but on the baseball diamond. Shohei Ohtani gets signed to the biggest contract we've ever seen, $700 million. $700 million. That man is set to make. The contract is huge. Ridiculous. Then all of a sudden, the details come out, and he's only getting paid $2 million a year for the first 10 years, and then $68 million for the next 10 years, deferred payments. But wow, where did I hear that Ohtani was going to do something like that? Last week on our show? Yup. A month ago on the show? Yup. I've been saying this for years. This is what's going to happen. Now, I think he defers it a little bit longer rather than taking $68 million. By the way, the salary cap's going up. So by the time we get there, $68 million is probably, I mean, is it going to be huge? Yeah, but is it going to look as huge? Probably not. And in that time, the Dodgers, who got Shohei Ohtani, are going to have massive ability. They're paying the man $2 million for 10 years. Yeah, he's going to get $700 million in 20 years, over the next 20 years, but that man's going to get paid. By the way, here's the problem. By the time this man, by the end of next year, by the end of his first year of his contract, he'll be 31. end of his 10-year contract, the man is going to be 41 years old. Yes, you can be a pitcher at 41. By the way, you can be a hitter at 41. Now, I don't like saying you can't be both, but here's the problem. We've never seen both. Pitching takes a toll on your body that's ridiculous. There's a reason why starters only pitch once every 5 days. There's a reason why when we watch guys come out of the bullpen in game 4 of a World Series who started in game 1, we're like, that man is Superman. There's a reason why when we look at guys pitching on 3-4 days rest, we're like, how are they doing this? Pitching kills your body. By the way, if Shohei Ohtani goes into deep into the playoffs every year with this team, that's an extra 3, 5, 3, 8, 10, or 3, 8, 13 games, I think. 13 to minimum. Okay, let me look at this. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. 2, 5. Oh, we'll do minimums. 3, 7, 11. 11 extra games a year. Sorry, I was wrong. 11 extra games a year. Minimum. That's if you get to bye. That's if you sweep every game. If Ohtani's batting in every one of those. But here's the problem with Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs. If he pitches, that takes him out of batting for 2 days. You say, well, he pitched and batted in the same game in the same day, and he did great. Yeah, you can do that once in a while. But in the playoffs, you're playing the best of the best. You're not playing teams that are barely making it. You're playing the best of the best. You can't you're gonna lose him from batting a day ahead. You'll have him in the game, and you might lose him for the next game for batting. How's that gonna work? What's going to happen is he's not going to pitch in the playoffs. That's just what's going to happen. So, that's just my thoughts and opinions on it. Bulls have announced that they're going to make a Ring of Honor and put the Pippen and Jordan and put a whole bunch of guys up there that have been deserving of being up in something like that for years. Let's see. Let me get the names so that I have it all. So the 95-96 team, that whole team is going in the Ring of Honor. Artest Gilmore, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Johnny Red Kerr, Dick Klein, Jerry Krause, Tony Kukoc, Bob Love, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Jerry Sloan, Chet Walker, Tex Winter, and then apparently somehow the championship team that went 72-10 in the regular season, somehow that whole team is being put up there. I don't get how it works, but okay. Call it a Ring of Honor. Call it the Bulls Hall of Fame. That's fine. Is Steve Kerr getting snubbed because of what he's doing away from the organization? Maybe. Do they wait till he retires as a coach to give it to him? I don't know. Should he be? Yeah, I think so. But that's exciting news. So, yeah. Also, in quick hits, the season tourney, the mid-season in-season tournament, Lakers Pacers. Lakers won 123-109. I'm sure it was a joke, but I have already seen people saying, "Look, LeBron has a mid-season tournament and blah blah blah." If Michael Jordan played today, he'd be scoring 60 at the age of 60. Just gonna put that out there. Rich poses a question: given the Lakers' franchise history, is it worth a banner? No. It's the most storied team. The most storied team in NBA. Period. Over the entire story of the NBA, the Lakers are the number one team. Sorry, I'm not saying they are the best. Like the best team of any NFL team or of any NBA team is that 95-96 Bulls. I will put them against anybody, any day, anywhere. But the Lakers themselves, as a franchise, is the greatest franchise in NBA history. The Bulls had 6 years that they were great. I love them. I'd take every bit of it. But does that mean that I mean, seriously, people, the Lakers have been way better, way longer. No, don't put a banner up. I don't even know that I acknowledge it in the footnotes of the program. Maybe it'd probably be what I do. Okay. Masked Singer spoiler alert. But before we do that, let me give you an update on Rocket League. Varsity won again this week, and JV lost. You can check them out on YouTube. I shared a link to one of our matches. I'll try to be better about that. It just gets so busy. I have so much going on during the meets. And then Monday, Tuesday, we have meets, and that's going to be, and then we're done for 2 weeks, basically. I need to do some work to get friend requests over to the guys so that we can do some practicing over break. But outside of that, nope, we're good. Okay, spoiler. I'm gonna talk about the Masked Singer. I'm gonna give you the spoiler. I'm gonna tell you who went home, who's going on to the finals. I am ready for this. Are you? I'm not sure. As I do this, I once again will remind you that if you don't want to listen to this, you can go away. That's fine. We're okay with that. We still love you. But if you want to listen to us in your car or while you drive or while you work or don't want to watch us on Facebook, but want to just listen to us, check us out wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch us, but you don't want to watch us on Facebook, you can jump on over to YouTube where we will be. So yeah, and with that, final spoiler alert. Let me get to here. Hopefully this gives me... Okay, we had Soundtrack to My Life. Group C finalists performed. The initial song, Candelabra sang I'm Going Down by Mary J. Blige. The Anteater sang Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. And the Donut sang Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles. The Anteater went out, was eliminated eliminated in the main round. Turns out it was singer, musician, and half of Hall & Oates, John Oates. The Candelabra also unmasked and turned out to be singer-songwriter and actress Keisha Cole. So yeah, that's what happened. Hunter Hayes came back and sang his song. I thought the Donut had won based on the initial song. I don't think that. I think he won on the initial song. I think it got really tight on the showdown or whatever their battle royale, whatever they're calling that this time of year. Sure. And then it was close. I wouldn't have been mad if either one went home or either one stayed. I was happy with it. It was great. That leaves your finalists as Gazelle, Donut, Cow, and Sea Queen. Rich and I do agree. I think I agree that the Gazelle is the one to beat in this whole ordeal. Yeah, I think so. And his power rankings are Gazelle, Donut, Cow, Sea Queen. I think the Sea Queen's better than Donut, personally. But I think they're all great. I would honestly, I could see any of them winning. I think all of them are great. I think any of them, I would be fine with any of them winning. If you don't agree, come at me. Come fight me for it. Okay, with that, thanks for joining us this week. Rich, I hope you had a great weekend. And folks, I want to remind you, we know Jesus wasn't born on Christmas night. We celebrate his birth on Christmas night. His birth is what paved the way for his perfect life. His perfect life meant that his death on a cross meant something. The perfect sacrificial lamb. And his perfect death meant that he followed what he was supposed to, and the power of God raised him out of the grave, and in his resurrection brings us new life. That's why we celebrate Christmas. Presents are great, but if you don't know Jesus, presents mean nothing. So, with that, just remember, if we don't see you by Christmas, remember that God loves you. Remember that you matter. And remember that it's not what you give somebody, it's not what you get from people. It's the gift of God come down in the form of a baby, born of a virgin. This last week, my daughter, we read my daughter from the Bible every night. And one day this week, we were running a little behind. So I wanted to be quick about it. And we've been reading the Christmas part. We've been doing Christmas story stuff, and I'm trying to teach her Luke's presentation of the Christmas story. But something struck me midweek this week. I felt like God said, teach her what it means. And Christmas is great and all, but let me tell you what Christmas is all about. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning, and through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life is the light of all mankind. The light shone in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. There is a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning the light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He only came as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. This is what Christmas is all about, folks. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified concerning him. He cried out, saying, "This is the one I spoke about when I said, 'He who is coming after me has surpassed me, because he was before me.'" Out of his fullness, we all have received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself God, and is in closest relationship with the Father, has made him known. That's Christmas, folks. If we don't see you by then, Merry Christmas. God bless you, and love one another. Let's roll that outro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.